Gentleman's Homebrew, coming at you with a beer review. And if I've done this right, it's coming out on New Year's Eve. That's right. So I've got a fun little beer for that. Here it is. It's from Delirium. That's right. Brouwerij Huyhe. I don't know how you spell it. Say that again, but Huyhe. Out of Melle, Belgium. And this is the Nocturnum. I'm thinking Nocturnum, you know? It's not the longest night of the year, but it is New Year's Eve. That's a night when most people or many people are staying up late, so Nocturnum is fitting on this. I did a little bit of workup on this that I thought I'd share with you. So the word Nocturnum comes from the 14th century. Nocturnum is the singular form of nocturnus, which is known as nocturne in Middle English. The definition of nocturne can be of the night. It also can mean a work of art dealing with evening or night. So maybe this is a great work of art, right? This could be just a beautiful brewed work of art. I like that. And there's a little bit of great history on the brewery. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. The brewery is in Melle's Apple Hook area in Belgium. So it's a region within Melle, and it translates the apple corner. I love that name. So brewing's occurred in Apple Hook in Melle since 1654. Leon Huyhe, as in the brewery name, didn't come on the scene until 1902 when he took a job at the brewery. He married one of the brewer's daughters in 1906. The brewery was originally named Brouwerij den Appel. And I don't know what all that means, but if you know, go ahead and tell me in the notes down below. It didn't become Delirium Tremens until December 26th of 1988. And that was actually the name of that key beer, Delirium Tremens. The unique taste comes from the use of 3 different yeasts that they use. The Pink Elephant came onto the scene in 1992 to help market the beer. And in 1997, Delirium Tremens was nominated as Best Beer in the World and earned a gold medal during the World Beer Championships in Chicago in 1998. So well acclaimed. And so we're going to go for it and try the Nocturnum tonight. That's a Belgian dark strong ale at 8.5% ABV. So let's get into it. All right, here we go. We're going to get the pour here. See if you can see that. I'm going to bring it all the way up. I'll leave some room so I can give it a swirl and smell it. Oh, I can smell it already. So it's kind of has some red hues and like a caramelish color, like some brown hues. A nice little mix. Let's get the nose. It reminds me a little bit to start as as someplace between like a quad or a double, and it has that little bit of spicy note from the yeast, which is just wonderful. Boy, you get some wonderful caramel type qualities coming off of it. I also get some dark fruits off of it. So you're getting like some raisins, like some dates, almost like candied fruits as well. Yeah, and just that little bit of like some spice on it that's fun. It's a really good smelling beer. Yeah. That smells wonderful. Maybe almost like a hint of like a candy sugar on that as well, I'd say. So let's go ahead and jump on in. Cheers. Wow, that's a nice beer. It's more like a double. Not quite to the level of quad. It's 8.5%, although technically it would probably qualify at that ABV. It kind of waters out. It's kind of funny. It's one of these beers that it hits your tongue. You get the flavors. You certainly get the scents. And it kind of waters out on your tongue. Then it just leaves a little bit. The aftertaste isn't as good as the front. of the beer, that's for sure. God, there's like a hint of plum on there as well. But it's not like the normal, I would say, a Belgian yeast, like you get so much of quads and things. It has its own unique taste. It's kind of like a Trappist ale, just ever so lightly effervescence, but there's some good carbonation on it. It's kind of a medium mouthfeel, I would say, medium to light medium. It's very interesting because it kind of semi-dries out at the end on your mouth, so it leaves you ready to drink some more. Now, I've had this in the past, and I'll be honest, I think this is something that gets produced a lot, maybe overproduced. I don't think the taste on this is quite as good as it was years ago when I tried this. Yeah, sometimes when they mass produce, you know, really good things like these Belgian beers, it's really hard to do. But it's a very tasty beer. I'm going to go ahead and take a little time with this, and I'll be back with some numbers. So coming back, there's like this aftertaste on it that I don't recall from when I'd had this years ago. That's just a little off tasting. I don't know if it has to do with the yeast component, like maybe it sat on the trub a little bit long. Trub is the kind of the stuff that foams up when the yeast is eating the sugars, for those that don't know about brewing. And if it sits on that too long, it can bring in some off flavors, and it makes me think that it maybe that is the situation. But otherwise, I'm not sure. It could be the bittering in there. Whatever they're due for hopping might be a little bit higher off taste, because the foretaste, the front of the taste is quite good and is enjoyable. For me, strong ales, dark strongs usually have a little bit more body to them, and they generally should have more sweetness. They shouldn't have any kind of real bitterness or off taste at the end. They should end up with a light, sweet taste on your mouth. And at this point in time, the way they're brewing it, it doesn't quite have that. So I can't grade it quite as high. So that's kind of sad to me. So in terms of a dark, strong ale, my score on this is not going to be particularly high. I'm going to give this an 86. And overall for me, I'm just not going to change a whole lot. Sadly, I'm going to give this an 85. This is a beer that personally I think was, closer to 88, 90 when I had it previously, maybe in the low 90s. But it just is not measuring up anymore, probably due to mass production. Personally, I would think that the best way to try this would be at the brewery. I would just bet on it. I'd love to do that. Here it is again. It is Delirium Nocturne from Brouwerij Huyhe out of Melle, Belgium. I would say go ahead and give this a try. Just remember that a mid-80s score is a B grade. That's not a bad grade at all. I'd say give it a try. This is, for me, going into, that's right, New Year's Eve. So I'd like to say to everyone, be safe, be smart as you go out. I'm going to be going out. I'll be having some fun with Kahlua Barb and a few friends. If you're going to be drinking, get a ride home, or have someone that's going to be your designated driver. So be smart and be safe, but have a fun time. Happy New Year's to you all. This is Kevin at Clemens Homebrew saying life's too short to drink cheap beer, and I will see you on the next beer review.